absolutely stunning. Check this out, guys. I can actually see myself in the swivel screen because I am using the Panasonic Gh5. This is my first time to ever use this camera. So many people have been talking about it, but I'm just like, I'm Sony life, I don't care. Typically, I use a Sony a7S II and a RX100 Mark V. Now, my RX100 is still my go-to for vlogging. I carry that thing everywhere. But when it comes to bigger cameras and being able to alternate lenses, there are a lot of options out there. And I still love my a7S, but I'm just like, you know what? This Gh5, it can shoot super slow-mo, and it has this swivel screen. Swivel screen. So I'm excited to give you my thoughts on the Panasonic Gh5. And if you're new around here, hi, welcome. My name is Sara Dietschy, rhymes with Peachy. I live in New York City, but I am here in California for about a month because it's too cold in New York. John is here. Say hi, John.
What's up? How are you guys doing? It's good to see your faces. You're smiling, beautiful faces.
John, do you think you could skateboard for this camera eventually?
Yeah,
At some point in your life?
If you want to see the trickeries, I got you.
Been using two of these cameras to record my podcast, The Creative Exchange. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, I will link it in the description below and also up here. The first guest was Gary Vaynerchuk.
I have a crazy affinity for artistic people. I love business and I love getting artists practical so that they are not at the mercy of the machine. I just think you can make $41,000 a year or $91,000. Forget about millions.
It should be everywhere where podcasts are, but also it has a YouTube channel. So thank you for the support. There's going to be a brand new one tomorrow, and I'm actually documenting the entire behind the scenes process of the podcast, so I will be sharing that with you very soon. But right now I'm wondering, is the Gh5 good for filming myself when I want that step above the RX100? Maybe. About this camera is I actually like the shooting profile. So I shoot on the Sony D, or one of the Sony profiles, and the moment I dropped on my color grading onto the adjustment layer, it just worked. Right now, it's no color grading. Right now, color.
Look at all that color.
color. Oh my gosh, big wave. And this is the standard color profile. So this is the one with a little bit more color naturally. How's it look?
It looks very natural.
Oh, really?
I like it a lot. Run!
Guys, look, there's new friends. Woo! Introduce yourselves. Who are you?
John Hill, subscribe please down below, link in description, top of the description down below.
Derek Simnett from Simnett Nutrition, best
Woo!
nutrition and calisthenics channel out there.
Heck yeah,
sure.
they just did a podcast, which is super exciting. And then what is your name?
I'm Crystal.
Yes, they're like the most adorable couple ever. But I'm obsessed with her tattoos. Can we see the tat? Oh my gosh.
Kitty cat, flowers, bird, elephant.
So cute.
Yeah, I have a thing with animals, or
I love it.
thing for animals, I guess.
They're delicious.
I'm the only one in this room who actually isn't a vegan.
Hey,
I did have a salad.
You'll get there, kid.
This is the one time that I feel out of place. I feel like it's always like, oh, you're the vegan.
Well, the world's changing, and we're on top of it.
So we're here at Courthouse Ledges in Santa Monica. There's a lot of skaters out and about, but Derek, who we've been hanging out with, who is the nutritionist, he actually skates as well. So I think it's gonna be fun to see him and John skating around. It's a beautiful day. I mean, it's California. So one of the things that gets me very excited about this camera is the 4K. So yesterday I was actually shooting some 4K of that beautiful sunset, but something I forgot is you can actually shoot 4K at 60 frames per second with this thing. In order to do the 60 frames per second and 100 80 frames per second in full HD. They're very much so buried in the menu settings, but I definitely want to get some 4K at 60 frames per second today, but I'll have to do an entire video in 4K eventually. John, what are you trying to do here?
Do a trick called a nose manual, nollie flip to manual.
And Derek is like, I feel like that close to the ollie. Oh! So John got it.
Yeah!
Accomplishment.
Dan got it.
No pressure because John got his trick.
I know, and he got his amazing trick.
So
and
now
I'm still
you
working
got
on an ollie.
You got an ollie. Oh my gosh, he is so
You got it, boy.
freaking close. Yes. Yes.
Look at that.
Yes,
Old dog
yes.
can do old tricks.
Yep. Boom. So why am I making a video that I should have made a year and a half ago about this camera, the Gh5? Because they actually just released a new one. It's the Gh5s. So it's basically a camera that's not a full-on improvement of the Gh5, but just something to put right beside it, similar to kind of the A7S and A7R line that Sony does. On the Gh5s, it is much better at low light, so compare it to the A7S. I actually do want to try out that camera, but to be honest, I was just curious. I've been using the A7S II for a very, very long time, and I'm anxious about the 3. I want the A7S III to come out. I'm gonna cop it like that, but there's also a lot of similar cameras like the Gh5 from other companies that have things that the A7S doesn't have, like a flip screen. To be honest, this flip screen, it's nice. If I were to speculate about Sony coming out with an A7S III with a flip screen, I would say maybe, but probably not. A lot of people's consensus is they're gonna come out with another middle of the line A6500 type camera that does have a flip screen, champion that as the vlogging camera, and then stuff the A7S III with a ton of amazing specs, slow-mo, 4K stuff, hopefully 4K at 60 frames per second, or maybe even more, but then still have the normal screen. If they put everything into one camera, one, it would probably be too expensive, but two, why would they do that? They gotta protect their higher lines. I'm pretty sure that's the exact reason why Canon is so reluctant to put 4K into their DSLR cameras, because they want you to buy their fancy big cameras like the C100, 200, 300, 5, 6, they have a lot of cameras. But thanks for hanging out with me and allowing me to geek out over this stuff because I love it. I love cameras. I always want my stuff to be as awesome looking and fun for me, so I like trying out new things. Final thoughts on the Gh5. The image stabilization in the lens was actually fantastic. I'm using the 12 to 60 lens and zoomed all the way into 60, or technically 120 millimeters. The image stabilization was actually great. Here's a clip of me filming in the car at 60 millimeters, and it looked pretty darn good. Wasn't really shaky. Flip screen, amazing. Dual SD slots, which is pretty clutch when coming to backing up your data or just having more storage. You can put in two 128 gigabyte cards, and that's so much footage. 4K looked super crispy, and there's so many options to record in .mov or MP4. You can shoot at 8-bit, 10-bit. There's so many options, but overall, all this stuff looked great. The menu on this camera is kind of terrible, confusing, but once you get your custom settings locked into like C1, 2, and 3 to the different modes that you typically shoot in, whether it's slow motion, 24 frames per second, or 4K, it's pretty easy to switch in between. But again, the menus in this camera are clunky. I do a ton of Sony versus Canon comparison videos, so this was fun. Change it up a bit because I see this as a camera that I would probably actually use. I think Canon still has a lot of catching up to do. Yes, yay color science, yay. That's about the only thing they have, I guess. I'm still Sony fan, enjoying this camera. I hope you guys enjoyed this I don't know what this was, first impressions review. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Let me know if you like this video. Hit that subscribe button down below if you're new. Become a part of the Peachy Fam. It's actually been so cool to see the hardcore Peachy Fam and the Discord channel. You guys have been chatting it up. If you don't know what Discord is, it's basically just a chat forum thing where you can go and chat with Peachy Fam. And you can create stuff together, and I'm occasionally on there chatting with you guys, so it's been super fun. If you haven't seen the Neon That Creative Life episode I posted recently, please check it out. This very, very sick neon shop in New York City made me a giant peach for my office. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Tomorrow there's a new podcast, so stay tuned and stay peachy. Okay, bye!